tend to be a little bit shyer, so it might fly away. Looks like a female knob-billed duck. I need to wake my mouth up this morning. A female knob-billed duck. Now they get the name from the males actually. Males are similar in color, but they get these big sort of knob protrusions on the top of the bill, hence knob-billed duck. There's one of your differences between ducks and geese. And most of the time what we see out here in terms of the larger water birds are Egyptian geese. And if you think back to when we have seen them, they're normally walking around on the outside just by the banks of the water or close to the edge of the water, whatever that might be, a river or a dam, and they eat grass. But your ducks, they feed normally sort of in the shallows of the water, and they normally eat little things, little insects and larvae and so on as well, whereas your geese are grass eaters. Very small pond this. Oof, actually we're going to come back to this duck just now. Just have a look up towards that kingfisher. And then just to the left of the kingfisher as well, there's a couple of different bird species there. Kingfisher in the bottom right, and then that little guy, a beautiful small bird called a golden-breasted bunting. Again, we haven't seen them too often. They're a little bit shy as well, but beautiful. Look at that facial markings. And then the kingfisher as well. This is our very common summer visitors, the woodland kingfisher. Sort of roughly what they sound like. I still can't mimic their call perfectly. Let's come have a look at that little bunting again, please, just to the left. It's just flown back onto the same branch. Just look at that. Quite a small bird, about sparrow size. As the name suggests, golden-breasted bunting. It's got that beautiful orange gold breast and chest. And then all your buntings, the other species as well, have got that black and white striped head, which is the easy characteristics of this. And the other one that we sometimes see, not right here, but if you go a bit south, you get the rock bunting as well. Kingfisher has flown off. Let's have a last look at that knob-billed duck, and then we'll continue on. As I was saying, as you'll see just now, it's quite a large, or quite a small pond, this, shall I say quite a large puddle. It's not really a very big area, but it's got lots of grass and things growing around it. Quite a lot of animals come past here for wallowing, so there's probably enough there to keep this duck going for a bit. Cool. This is quite special to see a knob-billed duck this up close. It's a species we don't see all that often, and like I said earlier, it would have been fantastic to see a male. They look quite similar in sort of coloration and so on. They're a little bit darker, but they've got this huge sort of protrusion from the top of the beak. And maybe this female might attract one of those males. I'm not quite sure what she's doing now, eating a little bit of maybe she's just utilizing something from those seeds. Some of these grass seeds get a little bit of a sweetish, almost nectar on them. Keep in mind that grass seeds are just lots of little flowers. Might be something like that, or I don't know, maybe she's cleaning a beak. I don't exactly know what she's doing. Interesting behavior though. Beautiful bird life out here this morning.
Peter, I have a question that's come through regarding one of the birds we watched this morning.
Okay, cool. Haley, let's go.
A question from a grade 3 classroom in Chilliwack, British Columbia, Canada. Could you please tell them how old was the eagle you saw, the Wahlberg's eagle you saw, and why was it mantling? How wide is the wingspan compared to bald eagles, and how many chicks do they have, and how often do they breed? It's from Mrs. Edwards and class.
Okay, cool. Well, I presume you guys are still with us on the vehicle. You're enjoying these birds as well. Mrs. Edwards and her class from Canada, grade 3s, which if you haven't been in school for a while, makes you guys about 9 years old, which is a great age to start learning about wildlife. It's difficult to answer those questions exactly in detail, but that Wahlberg's eagle we looked at earlier, in terms of its age, I would say probably was how shall I put it, like a young mature bird. It didn't have the look of a young bird anymore, but it had the nice dark coloration. So that means that it's sort of mature enough already. And what's interesting about Wahlberg's eagles, I'll come back to its size just now, but in terms of their breeding, is that they breed, or that they're migrants first of all. So they fly up to the northern hemisphere in our winter, and they come down here and they breed in the southern hemisphere in our summertime. And what quite often happens, and we're lucky enough to have that nest close to Juma as well, close to our camp, is that the youngsters, after they've sort of grown up and matured enough to leave the nest, they'll stay one winter season in southern Africa or in the southern hemisphere, and then only start migrating once they're sort of 2 years old. In terms of the breeding, typically if you have a pair, they will breed normally once a year when they're in the summer environment in the southern hemisphere. And in terms of the size, they're not very large eagles. They sort of medium size. I'm not exactly sure of the size of the American bald eagle, or the bald eagle as you guys would have in British Columbia there. But the bald eagle is actually closely related to the African fish eagle. They look very similar, and would be probably about 20% larger than the bald eagle. So in terms of the wingspan, the wingspan of a Wahlberg's eagle, I would guess the bird is about 55-60 centimeters, just over 60 centimeters tall. So the wingspan is probably about 1.20 meters, which is about 4.5 feet. Whereas, and you guys can go check this up maybe this morning if you want, but the bald eagle, like I said, I don't know them that well, but I would guess their wingspan is probably about 5 feet or so, maybe slightly more even. And also the bald eagle is much heavier, sort of stockier bird. I think that covered most of the questions. Nice to have you guys on drive with us. I'm always very excited to have young minds and young people on the drive. I think it's awesome that you guys enjoy this kind of thing. I was very lucky as a little kid, even before school, to be exposed to lots of nature and lots of wildlife, and it's a very special place. And you will always get a lot of beautiful things from it. All right.